All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April 2024 Youth and Education Committee meeting for Community Board 11. All right, before we begin, we're gonna observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Members should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. When recognized, all such remarks regarding Community Board 11 business or questions about the agenda topics will be made on the report. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to discussion. Members of the public, if you wish to, if you have a question or comment about the subjects on the agenda, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. We'll now take attendance by roll call.
Okay, committee members, just to note that there are 9 members total, 5 are needed for quorum. Rosa Diaz, excused. David Giordano.
Present.
John Green. Here. Christina Johnson, excused. Sage Mason.
Here.
Jennifer.
I'm sorry, I'm here.
No, Christina, you are, excused. You requested an excuse, so you're technically not present for tonight's meeting.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, sorry, thank you, yes.
No worries, no worries. Jennifer Mayer, excused. Asher Rodriguez.
Present.
Isaac Scott. Present. Russell Schuler, request excuse. We have 5 present, you have committee, you have quorum, excuse me.
All right, thank you. What's it called? The March 2024 minutes were distributed in advance. If there is no objections to the minutes, we will continue. Raise your hand if you have an objection to adopting the minutes. All right.
March minutes.
All
Agenda.
right. Seeing no hands, the minutes from last meeting are adopted and they will be available on the website. All right, and now, oh, I did this backwards because I was reading this wrong. All right. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed in advance. If there's no objections to adopting the agenda, we will continue. Does anyone have? All right, seeing no hands, we'll continue. Trying to move it along because we started a little bit late, so.
Okay, so, my apologies for the slides, it's actually, March 20.
But I said it right?
Yes, you did, yes, you did.
And the announcements. Well, the Earth Day event is next week, next Friday. It's a collaboration between Youth and Education and Environment, Open Space and Parks. We have a lot of schools coming to present. So if anyone can be there or volunteer to help, I would appreciate it. Anyone want to volunteer or? I know some people are on both committees.
9 in the morning till 2.
Yeah, 9 in the morning till 3, because setup and breakdown. Okay,
I'll tell you later.
yeah, all right.
What's the day, Ash?
Next Friday, the 19th. You can let me know.
Can it be, or does it have to be the whole day? Can it be some parts of
It
it?
could be some parts of it, yeah. It could be, just, we'll talk after, all right. Anyone else have any announcements? We're now gonna go to our informational updates. We're gonna start with, I saw Dr. Christie, so.
Good evening, everyone. Just want to thank you for inviting me to this space. I know you made the announcements about Earth Day, and we have 4 schools that are going to participate. We have Central Park East 2, Renaissance School of the Arts, PSMS 96, and PSMS 171 Patrick Henry Prep. And again, thanks for creating this space.
Sorry to interrupt you, 72 also.
And 72 also? Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you.
I'm not sure if you were informed about
Yes,
that.
I reached out to Dr. Hernandez, so I didn't recall that confirmation, but I'm glad to hear. Like, I did share it with everyone, so there might be other schools, but those are the ones that I know are confirmed. So thank you for sharing that. Tomorrow, we have partnered with Not Another Child for Players for Change. So we actually, I know it's Eid, but for our students that are not observing Eid, we do have a basketball tournament that's taking place tomorrow at the 007 campus. I also wanted to follow up with the last time I was here, you asked about the libraries that we have in the schools. And so I just want to distinguish between, a lot of our schools have libraries that maybe are not being supervised by certified librarians. So there might be a discrepancy in some of these numbers, because I know a lot of our buildings do have a library, and maybe they have like a school aide or someone else working. I'm sorry, hold on. I was just looking at my notes. I had it written down because I had an update from last year. We don't have as many as I would like, and I wanted to give you the numbers that have a certified librarian. So I can tell you that, again, Central Park East 2 has a certified librarian. 206 has a certified librarian. 112, my gosh, 112 has a certified librarian. 375 has a certified librarian. Yeah, and those are the 4 schools with actual certified librarians. Again, other schools have a librarian. Sometimes it's a school aide or a teacher that is managing them, but those are the schools with a certified librarian.
I'm sorry, I appreciate that information, but I just have one more little follow-up question. What are the schools that have a library that's not being used at all?
Can you say that again? I'm sorry, I'm confused because like
Schools that have a library that aren't being used at all, like no
they
school aide,
should.
no librarian.
I mean, I guess the thing is a lot of them have the space. Like I can, for example, because I don't want to like give misinformation. For example, Lexington Academy has a library, I'm using air quotes, in their school, but I'm not for sure how it's being used. 007, same thing. They have a library, like a space that's designated as a library, but I don't know how it's being utilized. And I could come back with like, I mean, like a lot of like Tag and Esperanza have a library that they use, and they use it as a shared space. And I can tell you that the room is being used, but they don't have a certified librarian. So
Okay.
I think it's best to go by certified librarians, which is the 4 that we have. Whereas like some of the schools might use which I said was 375, Central Park East 2, 112, and 206, they have actual certified librarians. However, I will say that like PSMS 96, they do have a library space. It is having someone else manage it, but I just don't want to give, they're not licensed, right? And so I don't want to give misinformation about, a lot of our schools have the space. Like even 171, they have a library, they have a space being used, but they technically don't have a certified librarian.
Yeah, that was my question, like which ones are just not using the space at all?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have any names of schools, I just was curious how many have a space, and you could get back to me on that.
Well, and I can get back to you. I think it's also, I mean, I'm not trying to be difficult, but I think it's also how we want to define how they're being used, right? Like, are they being used as a classroom? A lot of the spaces are being used as a classroom. Are they being used as a true library? You know, I can speak more to that, but I can get more
I'm just trying
information.
to attack anyone, I just was curious how these spaces were being used, that was it.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that when we're walking the buildings, just so that everybody here knows, I don't want any, especially with the small class size working group, no space should be used as a storage space unless it is in the basement. So most of our buildings are being utilized for whether it's small group, OT, speech pathologists sometimes use these spaces, sometimes for assessment. Some of the rooms are being used for reading partners, because we do have reading partners in a lot of our schools. So they're used for a multitude of reasons. However, I do think it is something that we're striving for, the fact that we only have 4 out of the 23 schools with certified librarians, right? And so we do strive to have certified professionals in the buildings. I know that, I just wanted to follow, because I think it's just important to be transparent. I have asked for accurate numbers. I know that, Mr. Nixon, I know that you guys reached out about just the early childhood numbers and enrollment, and I haven't been able to get any exact figures or numbers on that as of yet. I can circle back and ask, but they, right now they've been, I guess, circling around to other departments to try to get me accurate information. But as soon as I get more specifics about the 3K and the pre-K, I will definitely share.
Thank you.
Regarding, just so that, when I'm thinking about youth and education, it is important for everybody to know that the New York State ELA test is Thursday. So tomorrow is a New York City Public Schools holiday. ELA for grades 3 through 8th grade are Thursday and Friday. It's also important to note that for 5th grade and 8th grade, we are piloting computer-based testing for those grades. Students with IEPs and or 504s can request a paper copy, for those specific grades. Parents do have a right to opt out as well. And I can tell you that our academic policy person has visited all of our school sites between yesterday and today. We've had additional office hours, just trying to really make sure that our schools are all supported. Oh, sorry, I know all the background noise. Sorry about
You're
that.
okay.
I'm okay. But those are some of the things going on.
Now we heard.
This month, next week, I know that we have the Earth Day. We also have our virtual math week next week. We're also having a Puree Belpre celebration in the art park across from the 007 campus on 120th in Lexington. Those are all events happening next week. So it's going to be a full week. And we also have the Science Fair Invention Convention. So a lot of great things that are taking place, and I can make sure that I share them. I'm Nancy Pereira, our family leadership coordinator, and Lenise Patino. We have all of our flyers on our website, but I can definitely make sure I try to include everyone. Just with all of our district events, you are more than welcome and invited. Some other great things that I would love to just thank our community board for your ongoing activism and just your support. Our pool and the 45 building, which is really exciting, we're hoping it will be repaired in less than 2 months. So, as soon as we, the painting, they're working on it, but the estimated finish date is in 2 months for the pool inside of the 45 campus.
So it'll be ready by the summer.
We're hoping, that's what we're striving for, is to get it ready for this summer. It's the indoor pool, and also to make sure that this fall that our second graders, we could start with waterproofing, lifeguard certification, all of the things that Asphalt Green has offered to partner with us. But once it's repaired, we will have a ribbon cutting ceremony. I can't wait for everybody to see it, because it's being enhanced, revitalized, and I'm just really excited for it and what it can offer the community for East Harlem. And then we have Adriano Espaillat gave over $900,000 to River East Elementary, so they're getting an entire playground renovation. PSMS 96 is a part of the Public Trust Fund, so they're getting a huge outdoor space renovation. It's the students are actually designing it at both sites. The students are engineering. It's fascinating to see their own playground areas. And the same thing for 112. Senator Jose Serrano donated money for their playground upgrade and air conditioning as well. So yeah, that's a lot. That's April. Spring break will be coming. May will be coming. I can also share about, for the next time, if there's different things you want to know about Summer Rising. I know you also have David here who knows a lot about Summer Rising. But those are some of the things going on right now. It's like planning for next year, planning for the summer and beyond. And really excited about all of it.
All right, thank you, Dr. Christie. Just one quick question before you
Yes.
go. Do you have officially which sites are open for summarizing
Yes,
this summer?
I do have that. So if you're, so this is official, that's been confirmed. I just want to first name that we have a lot of buildings that are under construction, a lot of them for the accessibility project, which is for elevators. So we do not have as many options that we had in the past. So the first site I will start with is the 4M007. That's our first site, and it'll have 3 schools affiliated with it. Then we have the 112-206 campus, and it will have a lot of schools affiliated with it as well. So that's number 2. Then we have that's the 112-206. That's on 120th and Pleasant Avenue.
No, I was saying the one before that. Sorry.
007. Sorry, 007.
Okay.
Another main site, main hub, the building code is 117, but it's the Tito Puente campus. That's our K through 12 summer rising site. It has TAG, Esperanza, PS 83, 182, and Mosaic housed inside of it. Another huge site is Lexington Academy. Lexington will have and house pretty much everyone on Madison Avenue, which is 171, 108, 497, and 72. And then our next big
CP1?
CP1, yes. I'm sorry, CP1. I'm sorry, CP1, 497. So CPE1, School of Authors, and Patrick Henry Prep and Lexington. And then our next big site, the 50 building, which will be with Naomi Smith. She's the principal in charge. She will have 38, 146, 224, which is Manhattan East, 825 Isaac Newton. Yeah, and those are the schools that she will have associated with her. So Naomi Smith will be the principal in charge of the 50 campus. Luisa Morales will be the principal in charge of the 117 campus. Dr. Tony Antonio Hernandez will be the principal in charge of Lexington. Principal Camille Forbes will be the principal in charge of the 112-206 campus. And then Principal Michelle Martinez will be the principal in charge of the 007 campus.
All right. Thank you.
Those have been confirmed. Our APs have been confirmed for all sites. And we are deeply committed to, and please encourage any family to reach out to their schools or their parent coordinators. All of our parent coordinators have been trained on how to help families enroll, how to navigate the process, and or to find other summer programs that can help meet needs.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that, Dr. Christie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And our next
next
CEC meeting is April 17th, and I'll have a PowerPoint and more detailed information, but those are some of the things that are coming up right now.
It's not tomorrow. Was it moved from tomorrow?
It was moved from tomorrow because it's a holiday and all the New York City schools are closed. It was moved until next Wednesday. So the following Wednesday, it'll be at PS 83 182 on 109th Street, or virtual as well. It's a hybrid.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, if you could just stay on for a minute, just in case we don't have, because Rosa's not here, because I'm gonna see if there's someone CEC4.
Yeah.
Elizabeth will be on.
Yeah.
Elizabeth
Elizabeth, are you here?
Cordona?
Lacey?
So, and Rosa was here, but no longer.
I do know that Rosa's not feeling well, but for this CEC meeting, I do know that because Elizabeth and I have met, that we have food services definitely coming next week. Of course, the update. And I do know that that's something that it was moved to the 17th due to the holiday.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All
I
right.
have some slides from Rose, I can just.
Oh, you have slides? Okay, let's throw up the
I'll
slides.
just pull up real quick and we'll just shoot the part through real quick.
Oh, we got them on this.
Okay. Let me try to read this. Okay. Next one. Okay, so I guess she just put some key dates to remember. I don't know if I should read all of this. We're gonna leave it up for like a minute and then someone, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so we'll just.
I can't really see. If anything, if anyone wants these slides, just put it in the chat and we could email it to them or something, yeah.
I can make them available as well on our website calendar, so if anybody wants to click. on it,
Okay, all right.
I can do that, so I can leave this up for about a minute or so.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't do that. Oh, it's a slideshow, of course.
I was in high school's present. All right. All right, continue, because they'll be available on the website, I think.
Of course.
Contacts,
Contact list, and then that should be it.
all right,
That's it. Okay, so that's CEC4.
all right.
Are you gonna? Okay.
No, so.
Is there anyone here from CEC 5? Thank you, Dr. Christie, by the way.
No one from CEC5.
All right, we're gonna continue. District Attorney, I think they said they were gonna stop attending. Is there anyone here from the District Attorney's office?
No, that's normally Sharima Harvell. She is not
Okay.
here as well.
All right, any youth education advocacy groups? No, all right, we're just gonna continue. Keep it rolling. All right, so we have two discussions and presentations for tonight. So the first one is El Barrio Charter School for International Culture and the Arts. Ruth D. Caraballo.
You're representing?
Yes. I'm sorry, did I say the name wrong?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just pull up your, did you want the video first or you wanted your slides?
Actually, we could just start with the video, yes.
Before we begin, I just wanted to let you know that we do typically have the committee wait a month to review all the material before we do take a position. So I hope that that's okay.
It's
That's usually-
absolutely
okay.
fine, absolutely. The intention, and I guess I could just jump in, the intention is to just establish a relationship with the community board. We would be privileged to continue what we're currently doing in the South Bronx, here in East Harlem, for a lot of reasons, mainly because we see so many similarities with the population and specifically with English language learners. We are a dual language school that has a focus on the arts. And so we feel that our best practices would be a great addition to the schools here in this community. And I'm just gonna start with a brief video. We gave you the presentation and we know that.
I did see that, yeah.
And we know that this is a process, and so we're just looking forward to continuing this conversation.
And sorry, for the record, can you also state your names aloud
Sorry.
for the record, please?
Yes, absolutely. My first name is Ruth, last name is Caraballo. I am the Director of Recruitment for El Barrio Charter School for International Cultures and the Arts. Oh, yes, and I'm sorry, this is Ms. Stephanie Lugo. She is our Director of Robotics, which is another addition to our programming that we are highlighting.
The last name again, please?
Lugo, Lugo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry. Make sure the audio.
For international. Volume 25.
Oh, I know that building.
The South Bronx Charter School. The South Bronx Charter School for International Cultures in the Arts.
Our school is full after school, so every grade, starting from kindergarten has 2 teachers. My homeschool students are given for 1 whole week. And then my partner, my English partner, gets my homework and follow them. So it's a 50-50 model for us. What are we observing? About half of them speak only Spanish speakers, and I have the English and learners, learning English and Spanish.
With a student population that's 91% of volume 29, volume 30, at South Bronx Charter School ICA are thrive in the 21st century.
The students have been learning about the irregularity. Y se van a pensar en esta pregunta. ¿Quién fue el más importante? ¿La mujer o el hombre? Mujeres eran las que cuidaban la familia. Los hombres fueron los que proveyeron la comida para la mujer y también fueron los que hicieron la casa y también fueron los que proveyeron los animales para comer. Pretty interesting to see how they evolved throughout the year. I think it's a really good opportunity to start speaking Spanish and English at a younger age so we can know more about other people's things and their past.
So, as we mentioned, it is a dual language model with 1 week English, 1 week Spanish in the elementary grades. We have applied for a charter with SUNY Charter Schools, and for a K-5 school model, which is how we began in the South Bronx, and then eventually grew to a K-12 model. So in the South Bronx, we are currently a K-11 program. Next year, the following year, we'll have our first graduating class. But as we reached our 20th almost anniversary, we looked at ourselves and our work, and we decided that it was time to replicate. And we couldn't think of another area in the city that fit who we are and what we do more perfectly than El Barrio. And with that, I will open with questions. I don't necessarily think it's pertinent to read every single slide unless you prefer me to. But that information is available to you, and I am grateful for this opportunity to, one, request a letter of support, two, begin to share with you our work and our intention to continue this work here in your community.
Alright, well, first of all, excellent, I think it's nice, as someone who went to, it wasn't necessarily a dual language school, but my school, in high school, we did speak a lot of English and Spanish, I think it is a great, program. My question is, do you have kids who enter the school who don't necessarily speak Spanish at all at home?
Yes, absolutely.
So they learn both, that's why you do the one English, one, are
Correct.
they learning similar things in the English
The
and the
same
Spanish?
exact lesson planning that is happening.
It's just in English and then in Spanish?
Correct.
Okay,
From week to week. So it replicates itself in every grade level.
okay, and you said arts focus, so what type of arts are you doing? Could
So
get
we
a-
have a focus in music, art, visual arts, and dance. And then in addition to that, we have other supplemental programs like chess and robotics that build on higher level thinking. And that is part of our, if you will, secret sauce to how we do our school day.
Alright, sorry, Sage, I just have a question.
That's fine.
Well, a couple more actually. With the music aspect, what type of music? Is it modern band? Is it typical music classes, choir?
It's a variation of it all. In the upper grades, it moves a little bit more into the jazz space.
Jazz music?
But it is a variation. We are privileged to be one of the Save the Music Foundation grantees, which provides us classroom sets of musical instruments, from the ukulele to a xylophone. There's just, a lot of different types of music that we're teaching them, but we're also teaching them how to read music and write music and to identify.
So like treble clef, bass, like the basic,
Absolutely.
basics, okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm a music major, sorry, background. And what would a typical schedule look like throughout the day?
So a typical school day is open doors at 7:30 for breakfast. Class day begins about 8 o'clock. And then we have an extended day program that includes an academic intervention after school or just after school for families who need an after school program. The school day ends about 3:25. and then we transition from regular school day to after-school programming till about 5:30.
Okay, so typically, some of the kids are there from like 8 to like 5:30.
Yes.
Alright. You could go switch.
So with the English to Spanish model, you do the like same lessons in Spanish the following week?
Absolutely, in every subject.
Okay. Is there like a ramp on process for like a student that comes in and like doesn't know one of the languages?
We have, sometimes we'll break up groups for those who are more native and the other students who are not as native and they need a little bit more instruction or support in the language. And then we'll break up into smaller groups if that case be. But the intention is to start in kindergarten so that all of these students are moving at the same progression in both languages despite at the entry level.
So you don't really take kids after like kindergarten, like new kids?
Oh, no, we do.
Oh, you're
There's
just
open
saying
enrollment.
it's more typical,
Right.
like they start in kindergarten. Okay.
Right, but we will be accepting for the first year kindergarten, first and second grades, and then we'll be growing those grades up to 5.
Okay,
And then you said you started as like a K through 5 and you got the student charter.
Well, we're currently a Department of Ed charter school. We're applying for El Barrio through SUNY schools.
Okay, and you are allowed to, like, well, I don't know the rules about.
Yes, you're allowed to have duplicate, multi-authorizers.
Okay, and above the 5th grade, you guys are also,
In this moment, I can't say for sure. I know that long-term, we would love to replicate the same kind of K-12 program, but that would really be determinant on how well we do the first granted charter of 5 years with the K-5 programming. That wouldn't be at our discretion.
okay.
John,
First, thank you for the information. You said visual, I said it includes filmmaking?
Yes, that is actually one of my personal favorites. We have not, really pushed that as of yet. We have some graphic arts and visual arts, clay, paint, drawing, etc. But filmmaking and podcasting and production, that is part of the angle that we are continuing.
Well, that's good. I was filming in college, so I did great. Oh, one other question.
Yeah.
Did the students have created that video that you showed?
They did not. That was done by a group of staff and parents who got together to create this video. It is a little bit outdated, to be completely honest with you. I am personally looking forward to doing a newer video, but by the students.
Okay.
so you don't have modern band in the school, right? Like electric guitar?
In this moment, it's a jazz band, but it really depends on the students, right? We want to customize our programming, we're
Yeah,
not.
sorry, that's like the new
Drill
thing
rap.
that they're teaching in music education
Yes.
programs.
Yes,
So afterwards, I wanna like put you on the plug in the program.
I would love that.
Yeah. for
We
modern band.
do currently have a pilot program with Lincoln Center, their middle school jazz academy.
Lincoln Center Jazz, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Their middle school jazz academy is housed in our school on Saturdays, and so we've developed a partnership with them.
is it Jazzmobile or no? It's the other
It's
one?
the middle school jazz academy,
Okay.
and they have multiple sites this year as opposed to just being at Lincoln Center to make it more accessible to families. And so we're privileged to be the host for that, in the Bronx. And we look to continue to develop that partnership, for all of our programs.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
Christina Johnson. Oh, sorry.
No.
Christina Johnson.
Christina could go.
Hi, guys, sorry. I just have a quick question and I'm sorry if I missed it. What are the requirements to attend your school?
There are no requirements. It is a public charter school. We would have preferences, and that would be to be English language learner, be of this community district, siblings to keep families together, and things of that nature, but there are no requirements. They could apply to this, any child could apply to this.
But is there a priority for people who live in the neighborhood?
Yes,
Okay,
priority who live in the neighborhood and English language learners.
Okay.
Okay, second part of that question. There's a child who lives in this neighborhood, right, in this district, wants to attend this school, is not an English language learner, but cannot find a school that meets their needs who also has a second language. Do you accept that child or what?
Absolutely, we welcome them with open arms.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
David, I got one quick question before you go. I ask everyone this who comes here, everyone here could vouch that, what are your special education programs like?
So we have a speech pathologist on site who works with our students. We also have a SETS program for additional support services. We also include ICT teachers for the respective grade levels so that the students have the individualized supports that are required based on their IEP. We do
No
not provide
occupational
PT
therapy?
or OT, not on site.
Do the students get referred to some outside?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. We just don't house them on site.
Alright. David, go.
So how many, students are you looking to serve? So the first cohort will come in, what would be the, you know, the school capacity at
The
this
school
time?
capacity at its full potential will be 425 students,
And that would be the K through
K through 5.
5. And you would hope to do the middle school and expand.
I mean,
We
that
see
would
how it
be,
comes.
that would be a wonderful thing, but it would not be at our directive. We would have to go through the first part of the charter, prove to you and to the state that we are doing this work and it is a benefit to the community. And then we would love to continue the same type of programming. For our students in the high school, one of the benefits is that they can graduate with a certificate of biliteracy. And that's something that is not typical of public schools, and so we're really excited about having that opportunity for our students.
What regions do you offer for the high school?
All of the regions.
Even music?
Not at this time, because we're not a full high school as of yet.
Okay.
So right now, what we have is our living environment, our students are actually taking those in 8th grade, living environment algebra. So that way they have the space and time to take additional regions exams.
Okay.
And languages are limited to English and Spanish, right?
Yes, we're dual
I
language.
mean, you know, we have all these other new groups coming
Yeah.
in different languages.
And we accept students who have other languages. We have some students in our school currently who are not native Spanish speakers. We have a young man who's actually, they speak Mandarin at home. So, you know, there's variation in the opportunity.
Good. Location, do you have a site?
So are you looking to build?
Because
or-
that's one of the challenges in East Harlem.
Yeah, that is very much so a challenge. Our intention is to give back to this community, not take away from it. We have looked at St. Peter, St. Paul, which is a Catholic school that is here in good standing. Just unfortunately, their doors have been closed and it's an empty space. But until our charter is officially approved, we really
Can't
can't
move forward.
You
move
said
forward.
St. Peter, St. Andrew is what you're.
St. Peter, St.
No,
St.
St.
Peter.
Peter. Is that the one on?
Isn't that like a block away? Or is that a different?
No, that's,
That's by like,
no, that's, oh God, it's
There's no same,
that's by like Pleasant, right?
right over here,
right there.
Okay.
St. Philip's.
It's a P, I don't know, Philip or Peter, one of those guys.
Okay.
We should
Alright,
find
so
out.
that's like around,
Yeah,
Well-
and definitely in this community, we've also have a really good relationship with PS 109, the art space, and we're looking to continue to work with them within the community.
okay.
So one of the things I heard you say is very important for us here is targeting kids from this community. I think part of, like you said, you know, this is community fit, your model. However, I've sat here since 2009, and I've heard a lot of charter schools come in, and ones that have been here for a long time, we won't mention names, who've all had, 90% we're gonna serve East Harlem. But that doesn't necessarily always happen. What is your plans to really target and serve this particular community? Because I think this is, you know, just from some of the things I saw in the pictures, wonderful artwork, and for many kids, art may be the basketball.
Yeah.
That is not the
Absolutely.
basketball,
Mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm.
And you know, just So how you,
Our-
yeah,
our
what
plan-
marketing and, you know, how you reaching out?
So we definitely plan to be a part of the community. We look forward to participating in your events, tabling, being present, and maybe even hosting some of our own events until the build out. But in terms of marketing, you know, you can put up a billboard and we have great billboards. And you can put flyers anywhere, but it's really the communication, the direct communication, speaking to parents and families and letting them know about the kind of opportunity that is available for them. We look to participate in your regular meetings and being a part of this community. So I don't wanna tell you that I have a specific game plan. I mean, you'll see us up on the Link NYC ads and you'll see flyers all over the place. But since we're starting K through 12, the intention is really to build some relationships with the daycare centers, with the pre-Ks, with houses of worship. Because that's where the people are. And so, our plan is just to be present.
And when are you looking to open?
So the application includes a year of planning. So we will not be opening this coming school year. It would be the following school year,
So
25.
2025.
Yeah, 25, 26. Yes. Which is why we wanted to have these conversations with you and the community ahead of time.
We appreciate, we don't always get charters to come before us, even though they're supposed to come before the community.
As a lifelong New Yorker and being in the charter movement for a very long time, I sat on community board 7, so I understand your position as well. I thought it only fit to be in this space at this time. I mean, I've been in communication with you for almost 3 months now, trying to make sure that, you know, we had this opportunity to share with you our vision, our mission, our goals for our work here in your community.
One of our stuff in the last few years is we've really been working a lot with the DOE schools around Capitol and supporting those things. But we did want to, you know, again, not forget that our charter schools are our public schools, are serving large populations of the community and children. And we just want to make sure you're meeting the standards that we need to
Absolutely,
meet to,
absolutely.
you know.
So we invite you to come back. Next month we will be building on this. It's just like I said, we take a month
Absolutely.
and we appreciate it. Is there any more questions?
Currently at the school that you're at in the Bronx, and I know that that's when you go into the Bronx, then you gotta go through that.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that was, yeah.
How many students are you currently serving?
We currently serve 435 students.
And that's through the K through
10.
10th grade?
Yes, because we're still.
Shifting with the high school. How
And
many
with
years?
the-
4
With the high
years?
school, we had to relocate temporarily to the other side of the Bronx, which really affected our enrollment. But they will be moving back home to Third Avenue in September, which will help us regain a little bit more of our numbers, if you will, for student enrollment.
Why were
Because
they-
families will be together.
Why were they moved?
We didn't have the space in our current facility, so we had to rent additional space, but the location was just a little bit far off for a lot of our families who've been with us since kindergarten. So it did affect our overall enrollment, which is why we're bringing them back this September.
Okay, so you found the space?
Yes, we have a space and it's very close to our main campus.
Okay.
So we're excited about that.
Yeah, and high school kids can be away.
Yeah,
They'd
yeah.
rather not be with young kids.
Yes, exactly, and so that makes it a little bit more complicated, you know, you don't wanna have your 9th and 10th graders sharing a cafeteria with
With the
kindergarten.
5-year-olds, yeah, they say very different things.
Yes, exactly, so we had to figure out a way to make it work, and now we're grateful that they'll be back. And God willing, in 25, 26, we'll expand here, and it's very close in proximity even to where we currently stand.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a.
Yeah, that's right over the
Right.
bridge.
The 6th train to Burke Avenue, like,
Yeah.
it's really close, and our intention is to have that kind of community where we can support each other throughout all the buildings.
Yeah.
I would also say, you know, a full board meeting, you get 3 minutes. I would make the announcement about the school. Again, that's another way to utilize the board of
Yeah.
services.
I'm scheduled to be here
Okay, good.
For
for the full board,
How
yeah,
about for next week?
for this month, I figured it'd be more
Yeah.
appropriate this month. So that
No, it's
that way,
fine, yeah,
next
just
month
make sure you sign up to speak because in our 3 minutes, I don't think we're gonna be.
Yeah, I will.
No problem, I'll make sure you have the link.
Thank you so much.
And that's
So-
interesting.
Seeing no further questions, is there anyone online who has a question, or are we good?
Nobody online.
Alright. Well, we thank you for coming,
Thank
I'll
you
catch
for
up with
having
you
me.
after.
I got a
Um,
lot of opinions.
So, we're gonna continue on with the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The school over here is St. Paul, St. Anne.
St. Paul, oh, the one on 109.
Yeah, yeah. No, like 117, 18. Yeah.
Oh,
We'll figure it out.
That's a school in there. They
Yeah.
have a school in there, too.
Good night.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful, we've actually been there a few times. I mean, the classrooms are,
Oh, it was one of the schools that got closed with all the.
yes,
Catholic
when the
schools.
Catholic schools closed down about 3 years ago, it was it's been closed down for about 3 years.
Okay.
And so Sister Truth is great, and I've met with some of the folks there just to look at the space and identify how we could continue to keep it what it was intended to be, right? A beacon of education for our community. Just.
Yeah, I would just say it's nice that we find other spaces necessarily than DOE schools to co-locate, and we have issues about that. Not personally against you.
No, of course, and
You
it's,
know, again, it's
understandable.
taking resources away from DOE and not giving it to DOE.
which is why it wasn't our first
We can, I
thought, you
we
know?
can have a whole conversation about that, but I'm gonna try to keep the meeting.
No,
Sorry.
and we appreciate you coming. It looks like a fabulous school and we wish you well.
Thank you so much.
Alright, so next agenda topic, committee discussion regarding 3K seat surplus in East Harlem zip codes. Is that what Dr. Christie says she's gonna come back with more information about?
Yeah, so we submitted a request for bring us the information for East Harlem zip codes. If you guys had the opportunity to click into the link provided. Thanks, Isaac. If you guys had the opportunity to click into the link provided, it went over just the disparities, and East Harlem is the worst out of all of them.
Yeah,
So-
could you pull it up? I was trying to pull it up, but yeah.
So, looking at this map here, you see East Harlem zip code, I don't know if we can zoom in.
3, 4,
So
2,
basically,
9.
yeah, basically it says difference between capacity and application, so, zip code,
Okay, are they,
10,035, sorry.
can I ask a question?
Sure.
Are they including just the DOE pre-K schools or
This is,
CBOs,
this is just the DOE's.
just the DOE?
Yeah, statistics, that's why we asked, Dr. Cruz.
And that's the funding that's gonna get affected
Correct. So
when
we-
they take back the stabilization money.
Correct,
I'm
exactly.
trying to
So-
pull up the link.
So for zip code 10,035, you have a total of 124 applicants with a capacity of 240, so that's about half. You have a surplus of 116. For zip code 10,029, you have 291 applicants for a capacity of 640, that's
Whoa.
1/3. You have a surplus of 349. So additionally, so we asked Dr. Cruz if she's able to get those data and metrics for us, so, versus.
And we're only talking about the DOE, right? So it'd also be interesting to see what is also like the number of slots with CBOs that are not in DOE schools, because
Right.
what we could do is be providing too many slots, right?
Right.
Or are these slots, when the money goes away from the stabilization, those slots are gonna go down, right? That was part of the concern.
Yeah.
Is that when the stabilization money, you know, from the COVID money is gone, what happens to the slots? And who's picking up the funding?
Right.
So-
This is a conversation for you all to have as a committee, in the same Excel sheet that we created. We don't have the numbers, but it does at least provide, the listing of schools from, that are associated with DOE that provide, free through K for the school day, extended day and year, and Head Start. And so it would let us know that there are, say, for example, with Tony Sunshine Daycare, a family childcare program in District 5. They have 3K school day with 2 seats and they're all filled. They also have extended day and year, 2 seats, not all filled, so we're assuming by the none, so one of them are filled. They don't provide the numbers, but at least it lets you know if it's filled or not. So for our facilities, we have a good amount of vacancies. And as was shown in the same statistical map. So like David just said, you guys might want to consider discussions for your statement of needs, because if they're showing a capacity and you know, to
And we
determine.
always ask for.
Right, you ask for more and you get more, but nobody's filling
Well,
up.
see,
so that's
this is
the
where,
conversation.
this is where it gets a little tricky. What we really be asking for is seats that go up to 6 o'clock.
Mhm.
See, because part of the problem in the school system is, I have my 5-year-old or 6-year-old that attends the after school. But then my 4-year-old that's in pre-K gotta be picked up at 2:30,
Right.
and there's no extended program.
Right.
And one of the things Dr. Christie's working on in certain schools like CPE1 is getting that daycare after school. The problem is there are different regulations for the funding sources for those.
Right.
We might want to send an email to someone at DYCD to.
DYCD does not
DYCD does
fund.
not know, it's not, yeah, my bad.
So
For 3K,
again,
who's the one who funds 3K? It's because it's not necessarily the DOE only, right?
no, you have to go to, early childhood programs. ACS runs them, there are different entities that run them. There's also, again, what's the other thing? There's Head Start that's federal and daycare that's city. Those are the funding sources. So federal is the Head Start program.
Okay.
And a lot of those are more in the communities, CBOs, but there are some CBOs that are in the schools as well.
Alright.
So
So,
Children's Aid used to be in CPE too, but we're not anymore.
so what we could do is we could wait to get that information back from
Yes.
Dr. Christie and then
Yes.
just
But
if everyone this month can look over like what we do have, then we can discuss it next month to see if we want.
we also should reach out to the CBOs and see what are the slot allocations. And if
Cause
there's
I
a
saw Union
surplus in that
Settlement
as
on there,
well.
and we'll have information
Right.
on that one.
Say that again, Asher?
I see Union Settlement on there, and we don't necessarily have some information. We have some for after school.
Right, now is that union settlement in the school or is that union settlement?
Oh, wait, no, sorry, I was reading the wrong line, my bad.
So number 24?
Yeah, no, I was reading the wrong one.
Right, when I'm filling out these fields, like, we should expand, the types, because you only just have the name, the type, the district, and the zip code, and what they offer.
And see, each of those things are different levels of care in early childhood. And you need to get the definitions between the differences.
Alright.
Right. So, you know, we'll hope to expand on this information and, discuss it because, you know, it'll impact, of course.
Funding,
Your
and
funding
we just
will-
had like the presentation. was
And
it
maybe
last-
we're not asking for more slots, but we're asking for slots to be longer.
But something we should think about also is, remember the presentation we had about the COVID, about the COVID relief?
Yes.
The 3K funding is getting cut. So we should see how that's gonna necessarily affect the seats we do have.
Right.
And is it just DOE slots being
Is it?
affected
Yeah.
or CBO
Slots.
slots?
Slots are affected. And you should also consider, you know, the community, like, you know, David, you were talking about families that have, you know, one child in this program, the other child in this program. Gotta consider as well, like, well, what about population, you know, population decline, for example? You don't have the bodies to fill up these capacities, or you can maybe consider that, you know, maybe a parent works in Lower East Side
Yeah.
and it's more feasible for their kid to go to school down there as opposed to, even though they might live up here, right? So these are
Well, with, what's it
discussions you
called,
can
with
have.
our program, I know we specifically have about 5 families in that situation of the pre-K and like one is in pre-K and the rest are at school age, so.
Yeah, I also wonder, both like a comparison, like what are the reasons why in other neighborhoods they're not having this problem? And also like quality, like maybe there's a perception that sending your kid to pre-K in a different neighborhood is better.
Well, you know,
Well-
you raise a good point, Sage, because
If,
we used to have programs that were full.
yeah,
And as the neighborhood is changing, not everybody's looking for the free daycare program. They're putting their kids in $2,500 a month daycare program.
well, if you're looking at the map,
And where we were on 101st, we had challenges filling up the free spots, but they were full.
Well, if
But
we're
you're also
looking,
serving a different population.
if we're looking at the map, a lot of the orange, which means they are like over capacity, is from what I understand,
Yes.
is in the lower Manhattan area where a lot of people work. So it could be what Khalid's saying, that like if they live in this neighborhood, but they work down there, it's easier.
But the capacity over there is like 30 versus here, it's like 60.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, alright, well, we will look more into this in the next month or so.
Well, what's
Yeah.
interesting is also in the new building that Children's Aid is gonna be in, right? And the
We're not-
developer's building it. Mount Sinai reached out because they're gonna have early childhood for their own staff, right? And it'd be interesting to see who actually attends, because a lot of Mount Sinai staff do come from this community, but don't necessarily put their children in the Mount Sinai daycare.
And then also requirements, you're talking about, whether the facilities meet the parent standards, but also vice versa. Are the requirements too strict in this district, or why is it that there is a surplus of seats as well? So these are all things to consider, especially when you're formulating your, new.
That's why I would
schedules.
wanna compare and see what the seats are in the CBOs that are not in schools, because, you know,
So-
DOE will survive, CBOs don't survive. the
Right, they
same.
need the funding. Okay, so we can wait,
We will,
wait
yeah.
for Dr. Cruz to come back with some, more detailed information, but definitely put this on your radar as a committee.
What I will do is, I've been working, with one of the early childhood vice presidents in Children's Aid. Maybe she can help us get some information on contacting other CBOs
Okay.
Alright,
and contact
See if we
information,
can
so I'll
get that.
work on that.
Okay, sounds good.
You know, to find out what the capacity is and.
Yes, indeed.
mhm.
Okay, so we can make that a project for us
Alright.
to work on for sure.
Next slide. Alright, I don't know why this is still in there, I probably should take
To take this off? Okay, so,
We kind of, yeah,
I was trying to review the minutes, but I couldn't really determine if you guys were discussing it for this month or in later months or. maybe for
I
next year.
think it was just, we discussed it a lot last month
Right.
about just. Like when, thinking about when new members come in,
Sure,
like a mentorship type thing, so I think next month we could discuss that more and more, cause May is when the letters go out, right?
essentially, yes.
Alright,
Alright, so then, no worries, so we'll move on to new business.
wait, John,
Oh,
Well, I just want to thank, Russell, for what he mentioned last month about, having new members in your committees, especially when it comes to budget time. As it is, so what I started this month with mentioning about the budget now, because I know we all know that we only basically have September and October.
pretty much, yes.
So the
Yeah.
thing is that, and also I know also from with my committee, because there are 2 or 3 resignations, so I know I'm gonna be getting new board members.
Mhm.
So I said that I will start mentioning it, we will try to bring any new members of the committee up to speed before summer break, so we can start working as soon as we get right after Labor Day.
Most definitely, that's a good idea.
But thank you, Russell.
if anything, like when we find out who the new members are, we could start sending out some of the budget stuff from last year, so that way they can see what it looks like, and it's not such a startling thing,
Of course.
so yeah.
I know Angel has maybe iterated this as well, it'd be good to, just institute as a practice every month, you're thinking about a budget item or something like that, just so when it comes to September, those crunch time, we're not, floundering or hustling or cramming, to get these out, they're always updated, and as soon as the time comes for submission, just organize it and send it right through, because you've been doing the work across the year.
Alright,
Okay, all right. You moving on?
any more old business, or we good? Oh, what's-
That's your.
Oh, that's your, okay, like someone kidnapped his kids.
Any,
Yeah.
any old business, any more old business? No? Alright, so just the last thing we gotta do today is, we need to vote on if we wanna give our $500 in committee funds to the Earth Day event.
No way.
You literally are on the planning committee, so I don't, not the first you've heard of it. Alright,
Motion to, use the $500 for the education budget to go for the upgrade.
alright, second,
Second.
alright, all those in favor?
Aye.
Alright, any opposed? Abstention, do we need to call the roll, or,
That was fine.
okay?
That's fine.
Any present conflicts?
said that,
Alright,
right?
motion carries. Make my life easier, any more new business, or,
No, but Christina Johnson does have her hand raised. Can I acknowledge Christina?
yeah, Christina?
Thank you. I just have a quick question about the budget or the committee funds. What were the other options for giving that money away?
We haven't planned any events this year, we've been working with the Environment, Open Space and Parks Committee for about, was it, since like January, to do the Earth Day event, and that's usually what we've been, every year we've done. For the past 3 years, we've done it with Environment, Open Space and Parks,
And
and we have to spend it by June.
yes, and Christina, also, the committee has the opportunity to use these funds for like initiatives such as that, if they like, or say, for example, during December, we had a couple of committees donate their $500 in committee funds to a holiday tree lighting, so.
We don't do that.
Right, so it's contingent upon the committee to, find an initiative of their own or others that local community-based organizations are requesting funding for. And as long as they are a New York City vendor, we can, consider contributions or anything of that nature. So that's something you can keep in mind for next year, if you want to talk to your committee about being more active or other ways to use the committee funds, okay?
Thank you. I do remember the Christmas tree donation. I do remember that, but I was a little confused as to what were some other events that we could do. Not that I'm opposed to Earth Day. I just was curious about that.
We can do any event so long as people work to make the event happen. And often what happens is that it doesn't happen. And this is why we worked in conjunction to combine the efforts to involve Youth and Earth Day and to combine the money to purchase food for the event and other little giveaways.
Yeah, and think
But-
about it, 2 committees putting both of their funds, that's $1,000 to put on one really good event, rather than,
And
be a
being
little
that
bit more limited.
many of the people in the environmental
Oh,
space
yeah,
also
literally
are.
half of us are on the other committee also, that's just another thing. So,
But again, if the committee decides that we wanna do a different event,
I'm all for it.
we've done youth events in the past, just strictly with youth. One at Hunter College and the School of Social Work, so there's other options. But what I would often say, and I'll say this, when I was chair, sometimes it gets very hard to pluck people in this table to do beyond sitting at this table. So if we want other events, like I'm out there, I got pictures, I'm on CB11, I have CEC, I'm playing music. No, but again, if you want things to happen different than what's happening, then we gotta make it happen. People need to do work.
I'm all for it, I just would need the help, so if you think about it for next year, let me know.
Our chair
Thank you.
wanted us to
And-
have a youth symposium this year. And I
That
said,
Earth Day is on the 17th this year, right?
yes, it is, but we are celebrating it, no, it's actually the
19th.
20th.
Yeah.
We are celebrating it on the 19th. And
Okay.
we're utilizing the Museum of the City of New York, who's, volunteered and gave us their services for free. They're also gonna provide the sound system and video, so,
It's also the day before the kids go on break, so it was,
and it's a way of getting youth involved in their community and the world that's larger, so. It was some of the things, and I'll say, cause I was the chair at that time, that it was
All right.
easier to combine and do it on our own.
yeah.
I'll be home. Please make sure I get the information. I would like to participate.
Alright,
Great.
Thank you.
And we following up on the libraries, you see, right? only 4 out of 23 schools have.
Yes, and that is totally disgusting. Every single school in our district, actually across all of New York City, should have a certified librarian in its midst and a working library.
When we're thinking about the budget, that's something we could bring up, so budget season's coming up. Make sure we
Yes.
write this stuff down, anything that anyone's passionate about.
Unfortunately, I think principals make choices. As
Is it
they're,
possible to go visit some of these principals?
well, I think that was something we talked about doing and something we've done in the past. Kind of like the CEC, where all of us take a few schools out of the 23 schools and visit them. And we would expand that to charter schools as well, since we have a fair amount of charter schools in our community. But
Yeah, I think that it's a very big conversation we can have, but let's wait till next month to get more of the information back from Dr. Christie, because she said she's gonna get a lot more of the specifics. And then we could discuss it a lot more, because I love going to libraries, so I think every school should have a library.
Maybe we can put that in the new norm of.
District
New,
needs.
yeah.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the minutes.
Yeah.
Library
I
stuff.
used to be the librarian.
what we have to do is advocate within the board so that it becomes one of the priorities. Just because it's a priority for us in the committee, doesn't make it to the larger and doesn't get a priority up higher. So again, yes,
I
Russell.
think the fight is actually with the DOE, okay? Because we're talking about funding as well.
Oh, no, that's who we would address it to as part of DOE on one level of it. But you'd have to address it on other levels, that's not DOE if we're talking about library, this big thing with Aguilar Library and opening up and being redesigned recently.
Close till December. Russell,
I believe if we are going to, we table our concerns of what's happening at the school level. If we want to be sincere, we should be working together with the principals to find out what their priorities are and why they make their
Yeah.
priorities that way.
well,
And then we begin to work
Yeah.
together
Right.
and we may refocus what our priorities.
It may mean special ed teacher, another one versus a librarian, right? And then their real needs in the school. And again, often we say if the social emotional is not right, the education is not gonna be right. You'll have a kid that, yes, is an anomaly and get through it, but then do we have the services that are gonna help the mass of kids move?
Well,
We should
right.
find out what they.
And that's,
what they-
I'm telling you, these are choices I'm now in a school,
Yeah.
I watch the choices principals have to make in order to try and be successful in their school, and you weigh things, right, like anything.
I'm just saying that's the way we can best allocate dollars based on need. We have our concerns which are legitimate, but we're outside the schools. Every principal is making decisions based on their population, based on parents in their ear, the demands that they need. We are saying things that are real when it says.
Well, maybe
school
one of
doesn't
the
have a
things
library. That's
is, maybe we
something-
don't do it ourselves, but maybe we partner more with the CEC, who go in and each have schools
I'm
designated.
responding to the person that says, let's talk to principals. So if we go to principals, let's go to principals, which we should do. Let's find out.
What I mean by partnering with the CEC go to the principals in the school and have me, so it's like, not doing it separate, but doing it as an entity together.
And like what you were saying, if we move away from the meetings and go to those things, that would be more effective as well.
Do principals typically go to CEC meetings?
During COVID, everyone was on during COVID.
the
For those
past few
years.
times I've
But-
seen,
Before COVID, and now back to live, there are not many. There used to be almost 200 people on a Zoom call, and you're talking about 23 principals and assistant principals in schools. They were there. And then as we've gotten back to live and normal, it's fading away. Fading. And I thought it was so great to have every principal on. And I think it was kind of mandated at that time, but it's loosened. And one of the things we started doing is not doing it at the same school every time, we're going to different schools. So we all go to a different school and see that. But that's something many, many years ago, even before I chaired the committee, we had done a thing where we went around to different schools. Actually, Elsie was one of the ones that led that work, who works for the councilwoman now. Yes, where she did a whole spreadsheet and had everything situated.
I say, I'm not sure if Dr. Christie heard all of that, but if she's still on. But I would say I'll reach out to her, express our concerns, cause I'll probably see her at the CEC meeting next week. If I'm able to make it, and I'll bring up those concerns and see, if we could discuss it in further. I don't wanna come up with a plan now until I talk to her, because she's really the one who could tell us what we could get access to, so.
And remember, we have 2 more meetings after this before we kind of break for the summer.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've done work over the summer, but there's a lot of work that's beginning here. And we should effectively plan what we can try to accomplish in the next 2 months as a committee. And maybe what we table as we go forward, unless people are committed to doing work over the summer.
I have an idea, but it would be like a long-term thing. But maybe like a town hall where we have like all of the principals, like the CEC people, youth and education people, and just allow like parents to come and.
Well, the CEC meetings are basically kind of,
Right, but maybe if we partner or
Yeah.
something, and that is a strategic kind of marketing and thing and
Mhm.
support. It might be a little soon to do it this year. You know, but maybe very early in the next year, so that we kind of start off together. And you know, I think we do need to visit schools and really talk to principals and find out what their needs are, so that when we
yeah, I
collectively
say
bring us
before we go asking
it's
so many
targeted.
questions.
You know, when we don't target things.
I think this is a lot of good long-term discussion that is being held. I'd say we talk to Dr. Christie first, and then see if we do want, like, if we do, she can maybe send out an email saying, or if we wanna make like a Google form for like principals to put what they need or something like that, cause we've had principals come.
But that's what I'm saying, the CEC
Yeah.
people meet with them, and sometimes it's better to get a principal once, with 2 people, than
Yeah,
trying to get them twice.
alright, so I think this is a very good.
And because, I'm sorry, because like Rose is on the CEC, I used to be, but Ash attends as part of the youth chair. We have overlap back and forth, so it might be we don't always have to do it all.
I have a
Right.
suggestion. Can we
Yeah.
come up with a list of questions that we all can agree on, right? So that when we do visit principals, we can come back with the same information instead of going to visit principals and everybody is asking different questions.
Yeah, and I would say we have targeted questions and then let them speak, because we might find common things we're not even aware about. Things that they may raise. You know, I do have to say, Dr. Christie, from my experience, has a pretty good understanding of what is there, and when she doesn't, she says she does it. And I think she will go back and find, I think when she went back and looked at how many librarians, she was a little disappointed. Particularly when the chancellor's whole thing is literacy, right? So there's a whole lot of things about books, right? Or books being banned, right? That we all read as
Required reading.
required reading. Well, this is part of formulating the goals, not only for right now, but next year as well, right? Because what can we accomplish in the short term? What, like, how do we look in the long term, and then what do we set up to do? Tasks, goals, we talked about them, but I still don't think we really solidified our goals, that's my opinion.
Okay,
That's my opinion.
alright. So I think this is a very good conversation we're having, and we will continue this in further months. Does anyone have any more new business?
I would just announce Children's Aid is having a community advisory on the rebuild, May 7th.
Okay,
You wanna come back for May 7th and give a?
I believe that's May, well,
Oh, wait.
it's on Zoom still?
that's our community advisory that we're having. Yolanda, Yolanda left, so we, Michelle Oliva is taking over. And she will be reaching out to the board to
that-
come before the full board.
Is that virtual?
It's virtual.
Alright.
Because of.
Yeah, John is part of the board as
Yeah,
well.
but I'll be joining you, that's the same night as the housing committee meeting, so I'll be joining in from here.
Okay.
Okay. Any more new business? Alright. So we're gonna do a roll call and then adjourn the meeting at 8:01 PM.
Right, Rosa Diaz excused, David Giordano,
President.
John Green.
Here.
Christina Johnson excused, Sage Mason.
Here.
Jennifer Meyer excused, Asher Rodriguez.
Present.
Isaac Scott, present, Russell Schuler,
Present.
thank you.
know how long
Alright, means
I was
adjourned
here.
at 8:03.
Thanks, Chair.
Like I tell you, I parked up here, I parked at 2 o'clock on 116th, 15th Street, left the car.